G'day guys, welcome back to True Eagle. Thank you for your patience first and foremost. I think a lot of you got the message that I wasn't going to be able to do a review straight after the game. The rest of you interpreted that as me being embarrassed or shy to make a video after the game, like I haven't done this a million times before. No, I just had to be somewhere, but I did watch the game live and I watched it on the I streamed it on the True Footy YouTube channel as well, but I thought today it would be a good chance to catch up and do a review. It's not a review I've been particularly looking forward to. Again, not because I'm embarrassed that I tip West Coast or anything like that. The response to that video, particularly after the game, has been quite funny. And I do actually mean quite funny. I've been in this situation before where I've made a claim about West Coast. We have been, embarrassed or whatever it was. I'm thinking about North Melbourne 4 years ago, and then it bothered me. And this time I find it legitimately quite funny. And for the most part, a lot of the comments have been in good spirit. So, in particular, Hawks fans commenting, oh, you got this wrong, or up the Hawks, or ha ha ha, like that's fine, that's cool. Some of the vitriolic stuff has been alarming, a lot of low IQ stuff, and before I move on, I'll just say, you might not be able to even see it on the YouTube video, because YouTube filters out comments with, swear words in them, let's just say. Now, but the reason I wasn't looking forward to this review is just because, I've had a couple of days to digest this result and the performance that we put out, and I don't know about anyone else, but every time the game pops into my head, I immediately want to think about something else, which has made it hard to really, put together a good review for you, because it just feels so gross. This was a gross performance. It's not even the result, it's the performance that I think is the really disheartening thing. And I've seen, on social media, a lot of the same frustration. I think there was a degree of expectation going into this game, and that was literally what my whole preview was. Those who bothered to watch it, there were a few people who said they were flamed by me titling it West Coast is going to beat Hawthorn. Then they watched the video and they actually got what I was trying to say. And essentially, it comes down to the fact that, this was the time to start dialing up the level of expectation on the club for good reason. The injury list is so good, and the maturity of the team, the best 22 we're putting out there, we can no longer rest on this, developing side kind of thing. Like, we've got about a third of the team that is developing, but that's not really that far off AFL average. And I actually don't know where our team ranked this weekend in terms of age, but it would be nowhere near the bottom, and comfortably older and more experienced than Hawthorn. And that's still a little simplistic because they're on the up and we're on the down, but when you look at stuff like that, it's very hard to feel comfortable about the direction of this club when you look at how many good players we have on the team. And I highlighted that in my preview, both forward, back, and even in the midfield. It's to get absolutely waffle stomped. If you don't know what waffle stomped is, don't Google it. I don't know why that was the first thing that popped into my head. But to get so mercilessly beaten, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing, and I share a lot of the same criticisms that others had in this game. There hasn't been too many Eagles fans, as far as I can tell, that are willing to sweep this one under the carpet. It was horrendous, and I really don't know why. Like, why are we playing so badly? Why did this start in 2021 where we just fell, through the earth? And then it's overly simplistic to say it's been 4 years of the same shit. I don't think that that's quite fair, because we've had, the injuries that we've had, it's made it impossible to try and fix the problems. I really do believe that. But then we revert to having a fit team again, and we look just as dire as we did at the back end of 21. Do you remember Shannon Hearn's 300th against Collingwood? Oh. So it just feels a bit bleak at the moment. And it is a moment in time, because 2 months ago, things looked a little bit more exciting. And things will probably continue to cycle throughout the rest of the season, but that doesn't mean we can't sit here and go, what the hell? How do you explain getting absolutely poleaxed in the midfield in particular? So if you break down where this game's won and lost, I actually think the forwards, well, I wouldn't necessarily say they were played well, but I can't really criticise them when you consider our forward line efficiency was better than theirs. They were more efficient at converting opportunities to goals, which basically means they were more accurate and probably had better opportunities. But us scoring from our limited inside 50s was better. So, I don't really know how to harshly to mark the forward line, other than to say Allen and Darling both held goalless in this game, and Waterman just the one goal, and Jeremy McGovern kicked one of our 4 goals. Well, man, that guy carried us. The backline carried us. And it's weird to be saying that. The backline was outstanding. Because this game could have been worse. I think the expected score margin was about 75 points. It ended up being 61, but individually, McGovern, Barras, and to some extent Hoff as well, they were good. But how good do we feel about our veteran key backs making sure that we don't lose by 100 points. Like, that's a very, very minor silver lining at this point, other than to give them credit for incredible seasons, McGovern and Barras. And Barras has been sensational. I don't know if that's connected to his contract talks, maybe. Who knows? And Brady Hough being young is a positive. There was a couple of other okay players. I think Duggan was okay, but I wouldn't give him any more credit than that. He still made mistakes. I don't think he was particularly impactful, but he got a lot of the ball and he kept fighting, and that probably sets him head and shoulders above a lot of the other players in this team. I thought Harley Reid was okay. I have to remember he's 19, and I think he had one of the most possessions on the field. In fact, the second most possessions behind Duggan. It wasn't his best performance, don't get me wrong. Like, he didn't look quick. He didn't look energetic today, or Sunday. And he had 9 clangers and just looked a little bit slow. And yeah, he's missed 3 weeks. Is that a factor, or is it just a bad day? I don't know. But regardless, like, he's 19. We don't need to isolate Harley Reid as absorbing all the pressure. Jaden Hunt was okay. I mean, I'm struggling to find another player that I thought really played well in this game. Jermaine Jones was good with his 11 possessions, but, who else won for the day? Who else beat their opponent? Probably no one. So let's talk about this midfield. So first of all, you look at the disposals, 426 to 278. That could be the biggest differential of any team this year. I'm not looking. I haven't looked that up. That's a complete punt, but it could be. Like, that's 148 or whatever. That's horrendous. So 148 less disposals just showed that on the outside, we just couldn't stop their possession chains, and we couldn't generate any of our own. 278 would be below average. 426 would be well above average. And the clearance game, we got slaughtered in. So yeah, like I said, let's talk about the midfield. Like, Kelly had 15 possessions, I think. Yo had 13. Reid had 21. He was pretty good. Jinby had 10. That's dire. Now, individually, and I'm not making excuses, but individually, they all kind of have their own thing going on. And in particular, Elliot Yeo. So I kind of feel awkward about, even including him in any criticism. I'm going to just give him a mulligan, because the fact that he even played, given he lost his father during the week, is admirable. It is admirable. So he's not someone I'm really focusing on, and this really isn't just about the one game for this team anyway. But, Kelly, again, coming off 4 weeks, is that an excuse? It doesn't really sound like a good one to me, because we got so horrendously battered. I know Reid missed some footy. He's only 19. I mean, I think all of that would be easier to digest than an excuse if this wasn't a problem for like 4 years, and probably even prior to that, like our midfield performance in general, considering the relative talent we've got in there and have had in there. I mean, I'm talking even 2019. And the midfield has never been a strength, and now, like, it is an absolute liability. So the question is why? Why? We've cycled through a number of different stoppage coaches. I mean, to some extent, it's personnel. Like, this isn't me surfing for excuses. This is me trying to actually explain why this midfield gets so battered regularly and still can have an amazing performance, like in the Derby, and I don't know if you even count the Richmond one, considering how injury battered they were, but certainly the Derby and against Melbourne, our midfield fired. And it's not like Elliot Yeo, Tim Kelly and Harley Reid are bad players. I feel so silly to even include Harley Reid in this. The kid's 19, but we shouldn't be this impotent as a team. We shouldn't. And this is a horrendous performance. And I do think we lack some attributes, like running power. We don't have any midfielders that accumulate the footy. So if I'm trying to diagnose what's wrong with the Eagles midfield on paper, is probably too many impact players that impact in moments, but don't, do the hard yards consistently, like week in, week out. I mean, Yo works really hard, but I'm talking about somebody who's running from contest to contest, getting the ball from inside to out. We definitely lack that. But there was no aspect of the midfield game that worked in this game at all. So, it just comes back to the midfield being diabolical. 60 inside 50s to 33. Same old West Coast at the moment. Like I said, I've been relaxed when I think there's been reason to be relaxed. And, the sky's not falling and there's a long season left. But, wow, this was a terrible performance. And probably the most deflated I've felt about West Coast since, probably the Sydney game is probably different. The reason I say it's different is because there was no expectations. We just shouldn't have lost by 171 points. This one is like us failing to rise to some expectations that we finally got back. So the response to this is really important. And I think this has got to be a big second half of the year for Simo. We know he's got a contract in 2025, but that doesn't mean that he will last that long. And I'm not particularly a big fan of sacking a coach mid-season. I don't really think that would get us anything unless results continue to be horrendous. And at the moment, we're in a stretch of really bad performances. The Essendon game was our best performance since Melbourne, and we lost that game by 4 goals. And we've got the Ds at the MCG this week. And I don't really... I'm kind of expecting us to play well, lose by 5 goals, and then be disappointing again the week after. It's very hard to be very optimistic right now based on what we've seen. If you're a person that wants Adam Simpson out of this club, then your argument certainly got a lot stronger after that performance. I don't take back anything of what I've said post games previously. Like, there were games where we lost badly, but I thought there were mitigating circumstances in some case, and some of those mitigating circumstances will be just that the team's not that good. I don't think that applies anymore. At least like the quality of the personnel. Obviously the team is rat shit, but the quality of the personnel, you know, like if against, I mean, even against Essendon, we didn't have some of these frontline midfielders, and we won the clearances or something like that, or +1 or something like that. I think we beat Essendon in clearances last week. So sure, Hawthorn are a good side, but you know, I don't even think they were necessarily that amazing. Like I said against Collingwood, I thought Collingwood really brought a brand of footy that we couldn't quite compete with, and you know, fought back into that game decently, considering I would put this was way worse than the Collingwood performance. I don't even know how much I'm rambling with this, because I'm not feeling passionate about this. I'm actually just feeling deflated, and I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense. You know, the general diagnostics are the midfield is so bad. Our backline is holding up okay, and like, sure, there's some individuals in our backline that I think, you know, we could improve on. We could get, you know, a bit more run and carry out of the back half, and preferably someone who can really damage the opposition with their foot skills, but it's not really an excuse as to this game. It's kind of like a secondary point. And the frustration comes from the fact that this is a mature team that is quality on paper. And, you know, it comes back to if the team is not performing well and you think that the talent is there, then that's where the scrutiny goes to the coach and the administration broadly, and that's fair enough. And we're probably at that point. By the same token, if you are somebody who thinks that our best 22 is rubbish, then you probably can't make the same criticisms and have the same expectation. I am certainly finding myself on the side of people who are saying this team should be playing a lot better considering the circumstances we're in. And that probably applies to the Waffle team as well. Again, that's a little tough because even our AFL listed players are kids, so it's a little bit messier, but it's still been not great. And this AFL team, again, I don't want to spit the dummy after, you know, at this random point in the season. So I'm going to hold off on the Sack Simo talk until the end of the year. But I do think that the pressure and scrutiny will go up a gear, and rightfully so. One other thing as well that I'll say is, you know, I've sort of been talking about what our list needs. You know, as we approach the trade and draft stuff, and as we are a team that is rooted to the bottom 3 in more ways than one, you know, the draft is becoming increasingly relevant for us. And I watched that game and I think, no, we still need midfielders, man. We still need midfielders, and someone different to offset what we've got. I think Ginby Hewitt and Reid, you know, that's a pretty good start. And there's Clay Hall developing, and who knows about Jai Cully, but we need some running power. We really need some running power. There is no ability to accumulate the footy and control possession. It's like we lose the clearance and we're screwed. And I didn't even touch on the ruck situation. Again, it's not really a massive factor in this game. Like, it was a bit of a factor, but like, I think I might save that for the preview, which I might just do tomorrow, because obviously this review is quite late. But yeah, I won't lie, like, there's a little bit more doubt around the future of this team this week. But hopefully, in a few weeks, we'll do something fantastic, and you know, we'll feel silly forever doubting them. That's the hope. I'm also a bit sleep deprived. That might be why this is such a negative review. But yeah, I think it mirrors whatever everyone else is saying. So I've got a bit of a feel for what people are feeling about the game. But maybe after a couple of days now, people have digested their thoughts differently. So let me know in the comments what you thought. Again, I hope this made sense. I'm a little bit tired. But I'd say it's good to be back. It's good to be back chatting with you guys. I wish we had a little bit more fun stuff to talk about. But for now, I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you in the Melbourne review very soon, probably in a day or so. But cheers. Thanks for watching.